Hey, what's up? What's going on out there? I'm about to check out this video with Brandon Tatum. He's going to be talking to some college students and particularly, the so-called black students out there about this so-called mentality of us against them mentality. And I found this segment, this piece, quite interesting. What he was talking about. Um, and I'm going to say this too. I think Tatum did a good job. He did this college thing. I think he's at the University of Memphis where he was just talking to different students, about different subjects. And I'll give him this: if he sticks to his pivot, whatever he believes in, that's what he believes in. But on this particular topic, it was quite interesting to see what he says. So I'm going to play it and give my commentary.
You touched on it earlier, the us versus them mentality that's prevalent in Black and I would say a little bit in Hispanic communities. What do you think is a good way to kind of stop that tension? Because me personally, I've got friends of different varying races and we get along just fine, but in the community in particular, there's a lot
I think
of
as individuals, we have to stop doing it as individuals. We got to start being friends with other people and branching out. We can't just be a clique. And listen, I hope that everybody received this properly. We, black people, and the black people that's watching this, and everybody else that care about the black issues, we will lose if we try to just black. Why? We don't have no wealth generated.
I want to stop it right there. What he said was really, really telling to me. Because earlier, well, I don't know maybe it was earlier, he was talking to some students, they were talking about Black Wall Street and, all that stuff and, black people doing for self. But in this particular instance, he's talking about we need the help of other people because basically from what he's saying in this is like we don't know how to generate our own wealth if we stuck together. And that's a complete lie. Like I think honestly, if so-called black people were to stick together like before segregation and integration and all those things like that, we were doing extremely well. Even though back then it was extreme levels of prejudice and hatred, overt and covert, but back then we were forced to stick together and, so-called black people did really great things. Um, I want to say before integration was a time that it was the most black businesses. I could be wrong about that. I don't know. But basically that time we had to stick together. We had no choice. But for Tatum to say this is kind of odd and it's kind of weird him saying that like we need to, align ourselves with some other so-called race.
We don't have wealth generated because we don't pursue that. We don't pursue that kind of stuff. We won't get rich quick. Why do all these NFL players go bankrupt?
They don't have the proper
because we're not investing. We trying to ball. I ain't gonna lie. When I started making some money, what's the first? I bought a nice car. It was as stupid, but it's like ingrained in the culture to say I want to ball. I want to be flashy. I'm gonna get me a chain.
Well, that's not real culture. What Tatum is talking about, he's just talking about just ignorance and wasteful spending. But real culture, and I'm going to talk on a spiritual level right now. Real culture is turning back to the Most High for so-called black people. Turning back to the Most High and following his footsteps and following his commandments. That's your real culture. So until you establish that, then you don't have a culture. All that other stuff is just foolishness. And another thing too, a lot of people may or may not agree with this, what I'm about to say, but it's in our DNA, to shine. Black people, like to shine, like to flash, like to possess. It's part of us, It is what it is, But you just can't, in Tatum's defense, you just can't be wasteful spending and not knowing how to invest it and put it back into something that's going to get you some money and not just be wasteful spending. But hey, sometimes if you want to spend money, that's up to you. But at the same time, you just can't just go broke just being stupid.
You got $100,000 chain and you don't have no equity. You're not passing anything down to your kids. I know dudes that got so much money right now and they balling, but then you say, do you have a trust set up? Do you have investment set up? Do you own property? Are you investing in businesses? Are you in these meetings? You're not doing anything. You're just blowing your money. And let me tell you another thing. Reparations is another thing. Raise your hand if you think black people should get reparations. Okay, raise your hand. High, I need it high. Raise your hand if you think it's good for black people to get reparations. Now let me tell you why that's a myth. When you get reparations, where do you think that money is going to go?
Into my community.
What community? You don't go to HBCU. Do you live in the hood?
Yes.
When you get money, are you gonna move out the hood? You gonna live in the hood?
I'm be in my hood.
You gonna live? You better move out. You better look at what happened to Nipsey Hussle. He was in his hood. Young Dolph, right here.
But we talk about
No. Young Dolph.
No.
What happened to him in his hood?
I'm from Cal State.
Right.
What we're not going to do is invoke Dolphin this.
Is it true? Is it not?
We're going to invest in
Is it true? Is it not? Okay, let's. Okay. When you say investment, what are you going to do as an investment point? What's your first investment?
Put of the black businesses that I know within my community.
Okay.
I'm going to put money towards them.
Okay.
I'm going to make sure that we get the guns off the street. I'm going to make sure that we have everything.
How are you going to do that?
How am I going to do that?
Yeah.
Man, that is a long plan. But the basic points are this.
Systemic gun control. Who's like?
I want to stop the video right there because basically they're getting into another topic, which, like I said, that particular point, Tatum was confusing me, and I know why. I found out like his so-called wife is white. That's why he's in this whole globalist, like everybody sings songs and get along and hold hands, and the so-called black people can't do it by themselves. They need somebody else. And this young brother that was talking to him, seems like he has some sense like, hey, I want to do this. I want to spend my money in my community, help my community. And Brandon is like, oh, you're not going to, only think bad things happen there. But honestly, that's where it's going to have to start. You're going to have to start at ground zero and building up your community so they'll see people like you that's doing right and positive things and want to be like you instead of being a negative influence in the community. But Tatum, this whole segment, he just kind of threw me off. With that, like what he was saying, like the so-called black people don't have a leg to stand on. Like it's not people actually so-called black people that's doing things, quote unquote, the right way, that's investing, that's focusing on, building wealth for their kids, for their community. Like, I don't get that. But that's my 1-2 on it. Leave your commentary. Let me know what you think.